Hello friends, welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Tonight's episode, we are going to build a calculator from scratch with Vue.js. And I have a song for you before we get started. Let me do this. All right, my hand's feeling a little bit better. Hopefully I don't wreck it and I can actually write some code, but here we go. Math, sorry. Math is fun, yes it's really fun, and we're gonna do some math today. Yo, math is fun, yes it's really fun, and we're gonna do some math today. Oh my goodness, I just messed this up totally. That's okay, I'm gonna take it from the second verse. We're gonna build a calculator from scratch and we're gonna use Vue.js. We're gonna build a calculator from scratch and we're gonna use Vue.js. Ow. Okay, let's do this. Welcome to the stream. If you're watching live, please throw a message in the chat. And tonight, we are going to build a calculator from scratch. I'm essentially going to be emulating the calculator you get on, let's do this, on OS X. And initially, I'm just going to try to emulate the style and the feel of it, and then we're going to make it work. So let's look at my breakdown of what we're going to do. First thing, we'll just create an app.vue. So I am going to use the Vue CLI to serve this up, but I'm going to do it all in a single file. We'll create a basic layout for like our display and where our buttons will go, and then we'll store all of the buttons on data. Every button will have a text and a type. If we look at the calculator that we're creating, basically there are numbers and operators. So these will all have the number type, and then everything else will have the operator type. The period will probably have the number type too. We'll figure that out. And then we're going to style it. So before we make it work, we're going to actually make it look good. And this will be fun. So we'll work on button spacing, make sure everything's laid out fine. We can work on the colors, make it actually look like the actual calculator. We can work on button hover. So let me pull up the actual calculator. Well, not button hover, but like button click. Like it changes the background color a little bit, so we'll be able to do that. And then make it responsive. So I want it to be centered on the screen and then respond to screen size. So however you resize it, it will always be centered on the screen. And then we're going to make it work. So we'll make the number buttons actually append to the screen. We'll be able to clear the screen with the AC button. We'll be able to invert the value with the plus minus button. And then we'll work on the operation buttons, which will essentially store the current display value and then allow another number to be entered. And then when you click equals, it will use the operation that you press to perform the operation. We'll then work on doing decimals. And lastly, if we have enough time, we'll make it so that the display will grow and shrink based on the amount of text in the calculator. So the way this thing works is the more numbers that go in there, the smaller the text gets. So that's pretty cool. But that'll be like the last thing we do. Cool. Thanks for the standing ovation, and thanks for the comments on the music intro. I royally messed that up. But it was fun. Yeah, let's write some code. So first, also, I'm using a mechanical keyboard. If at any time you are completely and totally annoyed by the noise of my keyboard, I can swap it out. I did like a test recording. It's not louder than me. I don't know. Just let me know. Let me know. So I'm going to create an app.vue. And inside of there, we're just going to create a basic Vue template. Let's do like an H1 that says calculator. And that should be it. But with the new Vue CLI, so if you have Vue CLI 3 installed, you can actually do Vue serve and then the name of the file, and that'll start up an auto-refreshing, hot reloading dev server for your Vue component. Let's see what it did. It worked. Cool. Let's open the dev tools, make sure nothing's going wrong. Awesome. So we've got our Vue.js app going in that simple file. Let's work on the basic layout. Okay. So I think we'll wrap everything in a main. And then we'll have like the div at the top. Let's give this a class of display. That's going to be where the numbers actually get entered in. And we'll start off with like 1, 2, 3 in there. And then we'll have another div, and this will be the buttons. And I think that's it. So I want to do this with Vue.js, so we're not just like hard coding a bunch of div buttons on here. But my thinking is we have something like a div with a class of like button row, and then each button row will have like 4 buttons in it. So div, and this will be button, button, button. Let's just see what that might look like. Well, I'd have to work on the styles. I'm going to do that next, though. But basically, we want something like this, where we can then emulate 4 buttons per row, and then we can just create several rows. And I think the reason I'm doing it this way is because on the very last row, we can do some special styling, so the 0 actually takes up 2 spaces. Cool. So we're going to do this, but I don't want to do this with just plain old HTML. I want to actually do this on my Vue.js data. So here's what I'm thinking. So on the component, we will have data, which is a function that returns an object. Just a second. Okay. And on our data, let's just have buttons. And I'm thinking buttons is going to be an array of arrays. So we have our outer array. This just contains all of the rows. And then like the first array, this will be like text will be AC, and type will be operator. So we're basically going to have like 4 buttons in this array, and then we'll have another array below that. So then if we look at the calculator, there's the AC, there's the plus minus button. So we'll do the text is plus/minus, and I guess that's also an operator. I'm going to make this nice and formatted. We'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. Cool. And then, so I have something to admit. I don't know how to use the % sign on a calculator, and I never learned. I could probably Google it, but here's what we're going to do. We're just going to put a smiley face right there, and we're not going to worry about that key. Smiley. My guess is that you press %, and then you type a number, and it takes that % of the number that was there before. I don't know. I've never been able to figure it out in all these years of using calculators. So that's going to be a smiley face. And then we need a divide sign. Division. Let's use this one. Cool. And that also is an operator. So that's our first row of buttons. We're basically going to do another array just like that. And that's going to be our second row of buttons. So we can do 7, and the type here is going to be number. Then we'll do 8, type is number. Then we'll do 9, type is number. Brooks in the chat says he'd be happy to take my keyboard off my hands if it bothers anyone. Actually, I'll show you. It's a pretty nice keyboard. Oh, there's that extra screw that I went missing. Found that. But it is a mechanical keyboard with RGB LED lighting. You can see it like glowing. It's pretty cool. Cool. So we got the 9 as a number key, and then we also need the multiplication sign. Could just use X, but you'll notice that has like the serif on it. I mean, it depending on what font we use. But if you pull up the symbols menu, there is a multiplication sign like that one. Yeah. And that's an operator. Okay, we need another row that's going to go below that. And this is going to be 4, 5, 6 minus sign. So 4, 5, 6 minus sign. Cool. And then same thing, well, not same thing, another row very similarly. And this is going to be 1, 2, 3. And the operator is plus. And we're on our last row. So this is going to be 0. And then dot. Yeah, we'll figure it out once we get there. I don't know if this is going to be a number or an operator. We'll see. And then lastly, we need the equal sign. Like so. Okay. So we have all of our numbers stored on data in our component. And now let's iterate over those in the view to actually show them. So we have div class button row, and we essentially want to repeat this. Yeah, and let's call these button rows. So v4 row in button rows, and then inside of there we'll have like a div that has a class of button, and we're going to repeat this button for every button in the row. So we'll do v-4 button in row, and we're just going to display the button dot text. Okay, what do we get? That is a bunch of text on the screen. Very cool. Let's see. Yeah, so now we have all that stuff stored on data. It's on the page. Now let's just use some CSS to kind of start to clean it up and make it look like an actual calculator. Cool. Let's check some boxes. We've got a layout. We're storing the buttons. Now let's work on some styling. Okay, first button spacing. So let's do this. Let's say button row should be display block because I want button row to take up all the way across. But then the button itself should be inline block so that we can have multiple on a single row. So let's do this. Let's say our button class has a display of inline block. See what that does. Okay, so now we got all the things on the same line. And then what else do I have here? So like button spacing. I guess let's go ahead and put a border around the buttons. Like if we look at what the actual calculator looks like, there's like this light border around there. So let's do that. So let's say border is 1 pixel solid gray. Okay, that did something. Here's what I'm thinking. We're going to flexbox each row because we can do space around, and then each button will take up the same amount of space in the row. So we'll do the button row has a display of flex, and forget what the space around property is on. Is it justify content? Yeah, justify content space around. Whoa, okay. So now each one is like taking up enough space across the whole div. Let's start to confine the calculator itself. So let's say that, and let's give this a class of calculator. So say the calculator has a width of 40%. Not that, 40%. So it should only take up 40% of the window. Okay, so now it's smushed down a little bit. And actually, I want it even less than that. That should be okay. I want it less than that. So let's do like 20%. Okay, cool. And I think I have in the to-do list like center on the page. Yeah, make it responsive afterwards. Okay. So first things first, let's just give this a nice display font family of sans serif. A little bit easier to look at. Okay. Here, so our border is around button. Let's look at the element inspector to see like what's happening here. So, okay, we've got a button row, and then we've got the button. Let's say a button should take up 100%. Will that do anything? Ooh. So now all of our buttons are taking up the full amount, and then Flexbox is making it space around, so they all take up the same amount of space. Let's put everything in the center. We can do that. We'll do that on the button row. Actually, we can just do that on buttons because that's the parent div. So we'll say align text align center. Cool. And then let's add a little bit of padding so the buttons take up a little more space. So each button, let's say you have a padding of like 1 em. That's too much. 0.5 em. I think it's a little too much because like it pushes these out a little bit. 0.4 Cool. And the reason I'm using ems is those are responsive. Oh, that's ugly. We'll try to fix that. Okay. But at like full width, that looks decent. Okay. Okay. So we've got button spacing. Let's go ahead and do the button colors. So we want our buttons to be like this grayish color. On a Mac, there is the digital color meter that's built in. We can grab the color we want. So I want that one. So our button will have a background with that. Okay, that's some gray buttons. Looks darker. Wonder why it's darker. Oh well. And then let's grab this nice orange color for the operator buttons. And let's do this. Let's create a special class for operators, and they just get a background of orange. And then when we're creating a button, we'll add that class if they are an operator. So on the div class button, let's do this. We will say, we're going to bind the class. We want to apply the operator class to this element if button.operator, wait, button.type is operator. So this will only apply the operator class to the button if the type is operator. Got some orange buttons. Cool. Looks like the border is a bit too much. Let's do like half a pixel maybe. That's better. Let's compare that with the built-in one. It's all right. We're not going to be like pixel perfect, but it looks decent. I guess the other thing is operator buttons should have white text. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, these three buttons up here, I guess technically aren't operators. So let's change their. Do they need another type? Like, there's the clear button, which just wipes everything out. This will take the current value and make it either negative or positive, depending on what it already is. And then this thing does nothing. I'm just thinking of what type should we give it? Because right now in our array, they have type operator. Let's just call these special. They are special keys. Cool, so now those aren't orange. I want this 0 button to take up the amount of 2 instead of the amount of just 1. So this is a flex box. Let's look at it. If on this button we do like flex 2, that's not how that works. 2, 0. I want the exact opposite. The other buttons are taking up too much space. Let's look up Flexbox real quick. The CSS tricks one is always great. A guide to Flexbox. Flex grow. I think that's what I want. So this should have a flex grow of 2, of 3. That did nothing. If all items have a flex grow set to 1, the remaining space in the container will be distributed equally to all children. If one of the children has a value of 2, the remaining space would be take up twice as much as the others. However, we do have a space around on there, so I think that's affecting it. Hey, Emmy, welcome to the chat. Interesting. Let's take a quick break. Stretch it out and take a sip of your LaCroix. Tonight is passion fruit LaCroix. Very curious. There is like a flex property though, right? You can do like flex. Oh, is a shorthand for flex grow, flex shrink, and the default is 0, 1, auto. Ah, so you can specify multiple values. That is doing nothing, and I'm applying this to the 0 button. What if I do this? What if I say this has a flex grow of 2 and this has a flex grow of 1? That does nothing. I think it's because the parent has space around. Cancel. Oh well. Kaizen, welcome to the stream. I think I'm going to skip this for now just because it's not exactly doing what I want. And we can get some basic functionality even though those buttons aren't the right size. We can come back to that. Remind me to come back to that. Don't let me finish the stream without coming back to that. Cool. Let's work on the display up there. So we want to grab that background color. And so our display class will have a background of that, and it also needs a text align of right. Cool. Let's give it some padding. Looking decent. And I think that should have a color of white. All right. We got a calculator, guys. Cool. That's decent. I'm okay with that. Are you okay with that? Let's see what else is on our to-do list. So we got our button colors. Round them corners. Are they rounded on the real one or on the built-in one? Are they? Like those corners are rounded. I'm curious if I applied a border radius to the parent, I don't think it would apply to the children because the children have a border on them. I'm gonna have to do something special with like these two buttons. Wemo is saying button row has to be display flex. I think I have that. Yeah, so button row has display flex. Right now it's space around, so every button takes up the same amount of space. And then I was just playing around with the flex property and that flex grow, and that didn't seem to do anything. Yeah, so let's try this. So Bob is mentioning he wants some rounded corners. Let's try to do this on just the calculator class. Actually, I think we could do border radius and then overflow none, so it hides what's outside of the border radius. Let's try that. 20%. Let's see if it's happening. Well, guess you can't do, well, yeah, not a percentage right now. 20 pixels. Nothing's happening. There's also overflow hidden. Ooh, look at that. But that's too much. Let's do border radius of 5 pixels. Decent. And then we'll give the calculator the same border class, so it should line up with that. Cool. So calculator has a border radius of 5 pixels. Oh, let's get rid of that. And then we did a overflow of hidden. And then let's also do the same border on the calculator. There's some weird stuff because like this border is not like interfering with like the inner border. You can see there's, oh, that's happening. Wow, okay, I was not designing at 100%. This isn't exactly what I wanted. I guess we could change the width. Let's do 10%. Cool. And if we do zoom in, stop that. We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so in my checklist, let's do the button hover real quick, and then I'll work on the sizing. Like, I want it to be nice, big, and centered in the middle of the page, so we'll do that. Button hover. So what color should button hover be? It should be that color. Let's see if I can do this. Bring up the color meter. Click. Copy, I think. Let's try. So we should be able to do button active. Active is a pseudo selector for when, well, that'll be applied when the mouse is down on it. So background. Not that. Well, let's just try it with gray. Let's see what happens. It's too gray. Let's see if I can grab that color again. Oh, actually, well, no. So the thing is, I need the button down of the calculator, but I also need to grab it with the color meter, which didn't seem to be working very well. I don't think that's working. Nope. How about this? I'm gonna take a screenshot whenever the button is down. Oh no. I had to click though. Let's see. That didn't work. Is there a color picker? Let's just find a color picker online and get like a lighter gray. Cool. So, well, we want like a that's decent. Let's use that. Click. Okay, I like that. A little darker. Okay. So we have the button hover. Yeah, now let's make this thing work. So size it based on the screen size. So here's what we'll do. Let's say the body width is 100 view width, and the height is 100 view height. So that's our parent now. Cool. And now that we have that, what if we make the width 10 view width? I guess that's still like, technically 10%. 20 view width? Okay. And let's also do the height. 50 view height. Okay, that's weird. Let's do this. I guess the rest of the buttons aren't going to respond to that. We can leave the height will be automatic. Okay. And actually, I am going to... The border seems to be doing weird things. Well, no, it doesn't. Let's leave it. Okay. I want this to be bigger, though. 40 view width. Bigger. 50 view width. Okay. And height, 50%. I think we need to make our buttons take up full width and height too, or button row. Let's say height is 100% and width is 100%. So anything. I'm curious why are we using any other sizes on our buttons? They do have padding. I guess I kind of want the calculator to be a display flex too, because then it would stretch everything. Let's see what happens. Okay, so this will have a display of flex, and that should make things weird for a second. Yes, but we want the flex direction to be column. That does that. And then justify content space around. Huh? I think technically now our, oh, you know what? Buttons. This needs to have a height of 100%. Whoa, okay. And let's see if we get rid of that display flex. Oh no, something's happening, sorry. If we get rid of that display flex over here. Now I'm just like doing random things. Where did all my buttons go? Let's get rid of the height. Automatic height. Okay. Let's take a quick break. We'll be done with the CSS soon. It's going to look beautiful. I just know it. I just know it. Here, let's play around with the styles here in the element selector. Okay. So we've got our calculator there. And when we set the height on this thing, like 60%, buttons shouldn't have 100%. How many? Oh, okay, I get it. How many rows are there? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 divided by 100 is 20. So each row. Oh, no. That's why. A button row height should be 20%. Hey, okay. So now, if we increase the size of the calculator, it should go with it. Here's hoping. 50%. I mean, right now we have overflow hidden, but that's to get rid of the... Interesting. Oh! Because I should be writing these things down. Okay, so here's the idea. Calculator is the whole div. So that's everything. And so we're saying the calculator should have a height of 50%, and that's according to the parent. So our display will then need to have we'll say a height of 20%, and then our buttons will have a height of 80%. So that way the display will take up 20% and the buttons will take up 80%. Okay, let's get rid of the width and the height. Well, okay. And if I get rid of this overflow hidden, is it still popping out? It is still popping out. So we may need to fix that. Let's say the height has the display has 10%, and then the buttons will be 85%. My guess is the 90%, 100%. What's happening? Okay, so we've got our calculator. We then have our display. That's 10% of the height of the calculator. We then have our buttons. And our buttons, we still want our button rows to have a height of 20% because that's according to the parent. And then this should have a height of like 85%. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. So, and it kind of responds, but this is just the wrong percentage here. It should be 89. Okay. And, look at me. Okay, they start to cut off at the bottom. I'm not going to worry about that, though. It's good enough for me. We want some vertical align in the button itself, too. So if we give the button a display flex, hopefully that won't mess things up too much, because I want to just do a line item center for the button itself. Okay, so button has a display of flex. What will that do? puts the numbers at the beginning. And then justify content center. And then align items center. Boom. Cool. And let's bump up the size of the display font. So color white, font size 2M. 1.5 M. Yeah, I need to work on my maths. Maybe I can use like calc or something like that, because these bottom buttons are getting cut off based on my calculations. I think it might have something to do with, I was going to say like the border of the elements. I don't know. This is decent enough though. And then let's change the overall font size of the body to be 1M. 1.5M. It's bigger and better. Let's actually get rid of padding. Okay. All right, Kaizen has some code for me. So what element should this go on? So if you're saying for the button row, would outline instead of border? Yes, it would. I've never actually used outline. Because border, if we think about the border box, is I believe the outside of the element. So it's actually pushing it a little bit more, and I think that is what's throwing off my calculations. Does outline work in the same way? Ooh, okay. And yeah, so buttons need to be 100% width because they'll take up their full width. And then Kaizen is saying on the button, okay, so on the row, they have a display flex, flex wrap. I guess I'm not totally clear on what you're saying for this. Let me copy it into my code here. So this is Kaizen's, well, that's not it. And I appreciate all of your help out there in the world. Not height, but anyway, flex basis on the buttons. Okay, so we'll try that after we get the row working. Because right now, some weird stuff's happening with my buttons, with my rows, and they are taking up way too much space. So this is what Kaizen says to do. We have display flex. We'll do flex wrap, and I'm guessing, is that doing something similar to space around? And then the button has a flex basis of calc 100%. We'll see. What do we get? Okay, some weird, interesting things are happening. I don't know if I totally understood the... Oh, did you update your comment? I'm a little confused here. So there's this 0. Where does that go? And... Oh, the widths of my bottom row? Oh, okay. Okay, because I was working on like the heights of the rows. I see what you're saying, because that would give the 0 button more space than the other 2 buttons, definitely. But this should still be justify content space around. Okay. I think the only thing I'm worrying about right now is like, okay, when the page is responding, that bottom row is starting to hide. And so what exactly is happening there? Because buttons is taking up way too much percentage. Yeah, because buttons is like overflowing. No worries. What if we get rid of the height on buttons? Okay, so now buttons don't respond at all. And the only thing that's responding is the display, because that has a... Maybe we should not use percentages. Maybe everything should be based on view width and view height. I think that might be where I'm going wrong. Let's go on this hunch real quick. Okay. So that's there. And then instead of height 10%, let's do, okay. And if the display has a height of 10 v height, the remaining height in the calculator would be 40 v height. So the buttons will have a height of 40 view height. Okay. But that's too much. What is our... And then the padding is making it have a larger height. Okay. I think that was what was throwing us off before. Now look at this. Okay, that's cool. And then we get smaller that way, and we get bigger that way. Cool. I think I'd like it to be just a little bit higher, or taller. So let's do height is 70. And then which would be 60. Cool. And that should still respond decently. Kind of starts to break down there. But then when we're there, that's decent. That's a cool looking calculator, I think. Okay, let's do this though. Last thing, center it on the page. So instead of the top left, the calculator is in the direct center of the page. So, didn't go down that path. Okay, calculator is the whole thing. So what we want to do is we just want to put this style on our body. And actually, let's double check our elements. So if that main should be our, yeah, so main is the first child in body. So I should be able to just flexbox the body and then do justify content and align center, align items. So display, flex, justify content, center, align items, center. Hey. Cool. Wait, so that still works. That's decent. Would you use that calculator? I'd use that calculator. You'll probably make the, oh, here's what we'll do. We'll make the font size also be in response to the view width. Font size, 1 view width. What do we get? Way small. 2 view width, a little bit bigger. 3 view width, a little bit bigger. 4 view width, I like that. And if we get bigger, oh, look how big those numbers are. Cool. We could do like a ratio based on the height and width. I don't know. I think I've spent way too long working on styles. I really appreciate all the help everyone's been throwing in the chat. Let's try to do the thing that Kaizen was mentioning. So on the period and equal buttons, do a flex basis calc. Okay, let's try that. So let's do this. So just in our data object, I'm going to add a style property, and then we can just directly bind the styles if there is a style property on a button. So style for this thing will be flex basis calc 100% divided by 4. And then we'll do the same thing for the equal sign. Bob is saying the calculator should take up the entire window. I don't think so. I like it like this. We could even do like a cool like random nature background or something like that, and your like calculator is floating. We could add some drop shadow. Yeah, right? I don't know. So we'll do that, and then we'll say if a button has a style, well, we should just be able to style. So we'll say bind the styles to button.style. And if there is nothing, it shouldn't break. Hey, that did something. That's too much, though. Instead of divided by 4, maybe divided by 2. Yes. Thanks for that tip, Kaizen. This is awesome. Look at this. Phew. Okay, and then the 0 is actually left aligned, so let's fix that. And Bob is saying he loves gradient backgrounds. Yeah, we can do a gradient background. Let's do style. Well, I think so. Yeah, Kaizen. So because the row has space around, the 0 automatically takes up the rest of the space that the other two buttons aren't taking up. But the 0 button should be text align left. Oh wait, no, that's not going to work because our button parent is doing justify content and align items. Let's take a quick break. Let's play around with that. So, because right now, the button has display flex, justify content center, align item center. Can you do align self even though the parent has centered? I don't know. Let's not do that. Just get rid of that. I think we're ready to start making this thing working. Make this thing working. We got buttons. We can click them. I think we're ready. Okay, so it's just pretty responsive. That's decent, right? Let's check it out on mobile view. And the stretch is to make this display also resize based on screen size and then also the amount of text in there. But if we were to do this mobile, that's ugly. I guess if you're on mobile, flip your device, it looks decent. Okay. Worry about that later. All right, let's make it work. Okay, first things first, the number button appends the displayed number to the screen. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. Because we are all of the buttons essentially like they're the same, they just have different types. We're going to have a single click event handler that decides what to do based on what type of button just got clicked. So on the button div, we'll do an @click, and we'll say button click, and we'll pass in the button itself. And so then on this method, we'll decide what to do based on the button that got passed in. Okay, so on our component, I'm actually going to put the methods above the data because my data is so large. Methods, we will have button click that takes in the button that was clicked. And here's what we'll do. We'll say if button.type is number, then we need to append that number to the display. So our data is also going to need a display value. It starts off as the empty string, and that's what we'll show right here. And then when we click a number button, we will just append that to the display. So this dot display plus equals button.text. And that should work for all of our number buttons. So, cool. So all the number buttons, we can append them all day long. And eventually it starts to clip and you don't see anything anymore, but we can fix that later. Cool. The number buttons are appending to the screen. Cool. The AC button clears the display. That should be easy enough. Okay, so if button type is number, else if button.text is AC, then this dot display is the empty value. So that should clear it out. So bunch of numbers, clear. Bunch of numbers, clear. 1, 2, 3. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. Ah, cool. So that's clearing. That's great. The plus or minus button inverts the display value and updates display. So if I were to do 98 and click this button, it should become negative 98. Let's make that happen. So else if button.text is plus/minus, then this dot display is going to be take the current display value. Actually, we shouldn't have to parse it. We should just be able to say times equals -1, because JavaScript will take care of parsing it, coursing it. I mean, 78 negative positive negative positive negative positive positive negative positive negative clear. Cool. If we do it without, I think it'd be like, oh, 0. Huh. And then we might have to do that later. Like if the first value is 0, then clear it. Yeah, because if you do 0 followed by some numbers. Cool. What was your comment about, Bob, when you said, can you just give it a different type and style the type? So are we talking about a specific button? Let me know. That's working for the most part. Yeah, we'll go back and fix some bugs later, like 0 at the beginning of a number. Okay. All right, now on to the juicy stuff. The operation button, plus, minus, division, multiplication, stores displayed numbers and sets the operation. So here's the idea. Like you start off, you enter a number, like 89. When you click any one of these operators, we should store the display value, because the next time you type a number, that should clear out. But then when you click equals, it should know what the stored operator was. And then use those two. Use the previous stored value with what was just entered. So let's do this. Else if button dot type is operator, then we need to store the previous value. So let's say previous value will start off as null, so it's nothing. And then when you click an operator, we're going to store the currently displayed value as the previous value. So this dot previous value will be this dot display. And let's just go ahead and turn that into a number, because right now it's just a string. So previous value will be the current display value. Cool. So stores displayed number and sets the operation, and then we need to like set some operator. So let's say like current operator, that starts off as like the empty string, and then when we click a operator button, we're going to set this dot current operator to be the button dot text, because if it's plus, the current operator will be plus. If it's minus, the current operator will be minus, etc. Okay. Yeah, great, beautiful. Now it comes into when we press that equal sign, we're going to use these two values. So the operation button stores the displayed number and sets the operation. Number button pressed after operation, update the display with a new number. Okay, so here's some interesting logic, right? If we see how the actual calculator works, like if you do that and then you press this, the number stays there. But then the moment you press another button, it starts over. So here's what we have to do. Whenever we are appending the number, first we have to check if the display value is null. Or the previous value is null, because if the previous value is null, we just start to append. Oh, and actually, yeah, so that means we'll actually store the previous value in here instead of when the operator button is pressed. So when we press the operator button, we just set the current operator. And And we'll set previous value to null, actually. Yeah, so previous value, click times, previous value becomes null. And then when you click another button, we'll say if previous value is null, then we're going to set this dot previous value to be this dot display. Otherwise, so we'll start previous value off as just empty string. So initially, we're typing away. The numbers just keep getting appended. Then we click the operator. It sets previous value to null and sets the current operator. Then when another number is pressed, previous value is null, so we store that as the current value in the display. And then we need to set the display to be the empty string. And then we put the current number there. Whew. Okay, there's a bit going on, but here's how it should work. So we should be able to do like 90. Oh, I broke something. Let's see. Previous value is not. Oh, this should be this dot previous value. Okay, so if I do like 999 times, the moment I press another button, we should see that, but now the previous value is stored under the hood. So when I click equals, we can use the previous value and the current value. Kaizen has a comment. One reason I don't like the Apple calculator is because of that reason. It doesn't show the value you just entered. If you're out shopping and checking your total as you go, you forget sometimes. Maybe we can have like a log of like previous numbers entered on the left-hand side. Definitely. Brooks asks the state of what part of the calculation. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I'm doing here. So like, you're in the process of calculating something. So you have your previous value, you have what is about to happen. Bear with me. I think we can like make this work pretty easily actually. So we're doing this now. The equals button performs the operation and updates the display. So when the equals button is pressed, and let's actually, we'll check for this before operator. So if button type, well not button, button text is the equal sign, we want to perform a calculation. So let's actually store some, create some calculations. So, or like operators. It'll be basically just be several different functions that do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So let's say operations is an object, and it has a key that is like division. And the value is going to be a function that takes in two numbers and returns their division. So return A divided by B. Cool. And then we'll do the same thing for multiplication, subtraction, and addition. So multiplication, subtraction, and addition. And this will be times, this will be minus, this will be plus. So now we have nice little functions that'll actually do the thing. And we're storing the operator, so we should be able to grab the function inside of this object that is the current operator and then use that to update the display. So if the button text is the equal sign, we need to say this dot display is going to be this dot operations at this dot current operator invoked with this dot previous value and this dot display, so the current value in the display. You with me? Let's see. 99. No, let's do something easy. 2 plus 2 is 22. Yes. we need to parse those things as numbers before we pass them into the function. So a quick way to coerce a value to a number is to just add a plus sign in front of it. 2 plus 2 is 4. And if our logic is correct, then we should be able to do an operation with 4. So 4 plus 2 is 6. And 6 minus 2 is 4. Minus 2 is 2. Minus 2 is 0. We have a basic working calculator. Cool. We can start to clean some things up, and let's make sure I'm doing everything. So equals button performs the operation and updates the display. That's great. Oh yeah, so one thing we're not doing right now is handling the period button, which should set the decimal. Cannot add more than one period. Yeah, so if button type equals number, we'll do that thing. And we'll say if button.text is the period. Wait, actually, is our period button a number or an operator? Or did we make it special? I don't know. Let's take a quick stretch. Question in the chat from Michael, only on addition? Oh, yeah, I didn't test any of the other things. It should work for everything else, but based on my logic, you're totally right, though. I got prematurely excited. All right. 9 times 9 is 81. Divided by 7 is a really long number. Well, a short number with a very long decimal. Divided by 2 is another number with a really long decimal. Minus 0.78. Oh, I don't have the point working yet. Oh, we just made it a number. So that's technically working. Yeah, let's test everything though. So 21 divided by 7, 3. Cool. 8 times 6, 48. Cool. 6 minus 6, 0. Cool. 5 plus 3, 8. That's right. That's right. Cool. But yeah, so if we look at my data, I think I set... Oh, yeah, I set the period to type of number. So I think the only check we need to do is make sure that the... Because here's what will happen right now. Like, I could do this, and that's not a valid number. Basically, like, append the period, but if they press the period again, don't let them append it again. Easy enough, right? So in here, if button.text is the period, and this dot display, can you do contains? I guess you could do index of includes. That's a good one. So if this dot display already includes a period, then we'll just return, meaning don't append to the display. Cool. Let's see what happens. So 99.99 period, nothing happens. Plus 0.1 is 100. Very nice. Divided by 10 is 10. Times 9 is 90. Smiley face. Doesn't do anything. We should make that do fireworks or something like that. I don't know. Cool. We have a basic calculator here. How far are we into the stream? Hour and 5 minutes in. Basic calculator, basic functionality. There might be some bugs. I don't know. Can anyone here think of some bugs, like things I haven't tried? Let me look at my to-do list. So period is setting the decimal. Can't add more than one. Okay. I guess one thing we might do is, oh yeah, so we can actually put a bunch of zeros. We don't want to do that. And also, yeah, you shouldn't be able to put 0 at the beginning of a number. You can only do one operation at a time. That's how the regular calculator works. 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. I should still be able to do that. So 9 times 9. Oh! I see. And I think maybe that is what Brooks was getting at. If you do 9 times 9, we should store that times 9 times 9. Oh, or no. So, okay, let's see how the actual calculator works. If I do 9 times 9, when I click the operator button again, it does the calculation and then stores the operation. That should be easy enough. So yeah, I will definitely work on that. And then Michael is asking, can we add negative numbers? We should be able to. So -6 plus a -6 is a -12. Yeah, that's right. Or a -6 plus 6 is 0. Yeah, cool. But this is the thing that I want to do. So when you do number, operator, number, when you click another operator, you should update the display based on the previous operator that was clicked. So right, so yeah, we should be able to say like if, and actually we should maybe clear something out here. So yeah, so when you click an operator, if there already was a current operator, and actually when you hit the equal sign, we're going to set current operator to null. So, or just empty string, so to nothing. Because there is no operator after you click the equal sign. It's not there anymore. Cool. However, if you clicked an operator, if there was a previous operator, we want to actually do this, then go on and do the next thing. And actually, I might bust these out into little functions instead of having like these if-else statements. But let's see. So we'll say if this dot current operator is a thing, then we actually need to, we'll copy it for now, but we actually need to do that and then set the current operator. I think that might be all we have to do. So 9 times 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 9 equals. Cool. Let's try it over here. 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 times... Wait, did I go too far? Equals? Hard refresh. 9 times 9 is 81, times 9 is 729, times 9 is 6561, times 9 is 59,049. 9 times 9 is 81, times 9, 729 times 9 is that, times 9. Okay, our calculator is working. It's not magic, Bob. It's programming, because we told our code exactly what to do. Here's what I want to do, though. So let's actually let's bust these out into functions similar to how we have the operations, so that we don't have to have this if-else stuff going on. So here's the idea. Because all of our if statements are comparing something with a string, we could create an object that has all of these properties, and then their values are functions that just do this thing. Okay. Okay, let's try it. I'm actually curious if you can access this inside of a function in data. I don't know. Let's try it. But here's what I'm thinking. Button clicks is an object. And so when you click on a number, actually, I want this to be a function. Because I'm hoping that Vue.js is smart enough to to bind this inside of functions on data. I shouldn't be storing functions on data, should I? Oh, actually, I know. So here's a trick. I I don't, Brooks. That's so Brooks just asks, do I have a story to use the keyboard enter numbers? I don't, but we could definitely handle that. So if a number key is clicked, append that to the screen. Easy enough. But here's a quick tip for those of you using Vue.js. Your data function gets access to the view model. And then you can actually use that, and like that's essentially like this in your other functions, and you can use that inside of here. So I'm going to do that. Okay, watch, this is going to be great. Watch this. Okay, so we're going to take this code, we're going to put it in this function, and now instead of this dot, this is just going to be vm dot. Like that. And here's what we'll do. We'll say, we'll get rid of that. Well, okay, never mind. Because we're passing in different things. Button.type. Okay, that should still be okay. Here's what we need to do though. AC, plus, minus, and equals should all be special because we don't want them to do the other things. Here's where I'm going with this. Because basically I want to say the button function is going to be this dot button clicks at button dot type. And then we can just invoke the button function like that. So I just did the thing for number. And now if this is working correctly, when we click on numbers, it's going to grab the function, which is the number function, and still be able to update the display with a number. And if that works, then we can add the other types as functions and do that. Okay. Does this work? Hard refresh. No errors in the console. Let's put this on the bottom. Let's see. We do have an error. Button is not defined. Oh, I need to pass in the button. Yeah. Need to pass in the button. Okay, so that still works. So we took care of number. Now, we'll do this for operator. And then I'll make the other buttons special so that they don't call functions whenever they're clicked. So for button type operator, we're going to have another function on here called operator. Takes in the button. And then now we have access to VM instead. Okay. And so that takes care of operator. But now these three buttons should not be operators. And I think equals is the only one that is an operator. So equals should be special. And both of those are special. Cool. Cool. So if it's special, then we just have this logic. Okay, so now we've got number, we've got operator, we have special, takes in the button, and then does this stuff. And now these all need to be VM. Okay. Now we've refactored that. And actually, instead of defining this method here, we should just be able to call it directly inside of the template. This is super weird. I don't really know Yeah, and so Kaizen has a chat message in the chat, quietly whispering Vuex. Absolutely, like this would make things a little more manageable if we were using Vuex instead. Because these all could be actions based on the button that was pressed. Yeah, definitely. Okay. What I was going to do, instead of calling button click, you grab the function based on your type and invoke it with the button. So that should still work. Let's see. 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. Cool. Oh, 0 times 9. What happened? Something weird's happening. There's something weird like in our state. So like 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 minus 6 equals that. Cool, that worked. Seemed to work. I don't know. There's a lot of things in here. I should probably have tests, honestly, because then we could try to break it with lots of different edge cases and see what happens instead of just having to like type all the buttons. But this was fun and a fun exercise and just brute force coding it, I guess. I think one thing I do want to do is turn this into a function, because we're doing the same thing here and here. This could actually be a method. So we'll say methods, and this will be like perform operation. I don't know if it takes in the button. We'll see. I don't think it does, because perform operation is going to do this. And now in here, instead of VM, this is going to be this. Cool. And instead of doing this, we'll just call VM.perform operation. I have not pushed it yet, Kaizen, but I think I'm at a good point, because one of the, so it's basically working. I think one thing I definitely want to add before I try to do the stretch, I really honestly don't know how exactly I'm going to do the stretch, but 0 at beginning should not allow a 0 at the beginning of the number. Cool. But 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 equals, cool, clear. And I think, so part of this last thing that we work on is when I clear it, it should actually start off as 0. So let's start the display as 0. And then when you click a number, if there's a 0 at the beginning, pull it off and just append the number. Cool. Should be easy enough. So when you click a number, append the text there, but we'll say if vm.display at 0 is a 0. So if the first character is a 0, then vm.display slice, I think, of 1. So if the first number is a 0, then remove that. I think that'll work. I don't know. Okay, so if we press 9, it got rid of it. If I press 0, that's fine. Times 9 equals. If I clear it, when we do AC, we should set it to 0, not to empty. Yeah, so AC should set it to 0. So 88 clear, 99 clear. So yeah, right now if I press 0 all day long, doesn't work. But if I start to add some numbers, works fine. Cool. That was easy enough. Someone give me a really hard math problem. Let me see if my calculator can handle it. 972 times 2 1944. Let's take a quick break. Wait. It's not counting down. Oh well. Is someone gonna give me like a really hard math problem? See if my calculator can handle it. Okay. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, let me push this up. Nice, nice, Brooks. We'll see how this actually handles floating point numbers. Is that what you're getting at? Let me create this on GitHub. Cool. There is the code, and you might not have seen, but I am just using the Vue 3 CLI tool. So to run this, make sure you have the Vue CLI 3 installed, and then just do vue serve app.vue, and it'll start right up. I will share the link there. Michael is suggesting that I do sine of pi. Yeah, I don't. So I think. Does this have a, yeah, so this does have a scientific view, and then that will give you like all the more of the mathy stuff. We're working on the super basic view for right now. That honestly shouldn't be too hard though, because JavaScript math has built in like math.sine and math.pi and stuff like that. Cool. Future episode. Yeah, let's start serving this again. And I will say, I kind of coded this with a rough plan. A lot of this was kind of just coming up as I was trying to figure it out. I don't know how I feel about having all these functions on my data. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Because they are functions, and we could put them on methods, but the reason I put it on data is because I want to be able to dynamically decide which function we need to call, which might not be as easy as just putting it on methods. But let's try these tricky math problems that I'm being sent. So Brooks is saying 0.1 plus 0.2. Yeah. So that's the classic floating point number issue you get in JavaScript. I see a problem though. When we do dot, it gets rid of the 0. We don't actually want that, because I would still want it to say like 0.1. So we'll just make it a little more specific. So if vm.display at 0 is equal to 0, and vm.display at 1 is not, I don't know. This is getting some really weird logic here. Let's see what this will do. So 9.9 plus 0.1 is 10. Cool. And then if we do 0.1, yeah, that logic worked. I just pulled that out of nowhere. Okay. 0.1 plus 0.2. I guess there's the other issue. If the length of the display is greater than 1. This is some really brittle logic. Okay. 0.1 plus 0.2. Cool. See if 0.333 repeating times 3 is 1. I can't do 0.333 repeating. I could do 0.3333333333333. That's just gonna give us like 0.99999 times 3. Yeah. All right. Kaizen has given me a tricky one. So in terms of order of operations, we should be able to, oh, actually we should be able to do 100 divided by 3, then divided by 10, then times 3. 10. Is this supposed to work like that? let me try it on this calculator. Okay. So if I do 100 divided by 3 divided by 10 times 3, 10. Very cool. My calculator works. Surprisingly, I don't know. I feel like it's some iffy brittle logic in here. This might be better if we used it in Vue.js. I don't know how I feel about having functions on my data. Things are working though. Cool. Any other right, but so Bob in the chat is saying, which means 0.99999 repeating is 1. There's no way for me to input a repeating decimal. I guess I could if I did 1 divided by 3, because that's 3 repeating. And if I multiply that times 3, that should give me 1. But there's no way for me, myself, to actually enter 3 repeating without doing like 1 divided by 3. I could press 3 all day long. That's still just going to give us point. Oh, I pressed it. I pressed it enough times that it became a repeating 3. That probably has to do with floating point numbers and how many decimals a JavaScript number can actually store. So eventually we got there. Cool. All right. We fixed that. Stretch, let's display text that grows or shrinks to the length of the display. So if we see how the Mac calculator works, does 9999, but then once you hit the display width, it starts to shrink, which is nice. I wonder how far it goes. Oh, I think ours will actually do that. Like if we have like a really big number. 99 clear. 9999999999999999999 times 3. Yeah, we get scientific notation. Yes, Bob. 0.9 repeating is 1. I just had no way to represent it. I guess I did. I do have a way to represent it if I reach the limits of the amount of decimals that can appear in a floating point number. Cool. Okay. The text grows and shrinks to the length of the display. I think I'm going to have to do a calculation based on the current width of the display, maybe even the height. Width and height, and then size the text accordingly. We can do this with JavaScript. And we want to run this every time the page resizes, but, well, actually, every time the number is updated, we want to change the text size to make sure that it still fits. Let's at least get that going. So, this is setting the display. Setting the display. Let's actually create a function called setDisplay. Because then every time we set the display, hard critic, yeah. Okay, yes. I don't know. But that way we have a single place where every time we're updating the display, actually, no, we don't need to do that. We're using Vue.js. We can just use watch. So anytime the display value changes, we need to resize text. So, oh no. Yeah, yes. We'll also have to make it responsive to when the window is resized, but yeah. Now every time we add to the display, that function runs, so then we should be able to calculate how much the text should actually take up. Let's just see if we were to like set a hard-coded style here. So like font size is going to be 0.5 view width. Oh, that's crazy small. 1 view width, 2 view width, 3 view width, 4 view width. Okay. what is our font size to begin with? It might be that the font size is taking that into account. Font size is for view width to begin with. I'm guessing that this is inheriting from the parent style and being applied to that. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of calculation we're going to need to do. Like, what is the length? And then come up with some text size based on the length of it. Okay, so let's do that. Okay. Length is this dot display dot length. Okay. And then we want, I guess we need to figure out how much space should every character take up if we want it to fill the whole display. Let's take a quick break. Yeah, and we can look at our calculator has a width defined on by a percentage of the view. So our calculator has a width of 50 view width. So we have 50 units to work with. And we want every depending on the length of the display, we want every character to take up that much view width. So let's say like total view width is 50. And if we did I could just Google this. Brooke, so what do I think about using rims for the font size? Will rims get smaller or bigger based on the view size? That's the main reason I used view width. So, oh, that's why. That has an M on it. That's why. Right, but font size has 4 view width, so as the size of the display changes, the size of the font also changes. Notice? But if I were to use M's or rims, will that change based on size? No, it's always the same size, which is why I'm using view width. Okay. I might just Google this, but I'm trying to just get the maths right in my head. So if this is 50 across, and let's say, right now we need to figure out how much each one takes up. So right now, let's say, so each one takes up 4. Okay. Then we just need to, so if, okay, I got this. With a view width of 50, how many numbers fit? So if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So 22. At 4 view width, we can get 22 characters in there. So, 50 divided by 22 is 2.272. I'm just gonna throw some numbers at it, and then I'm gonna Google this because another way you could do it is just totally based on like actual pixel width. I mean, that might actually work. We could get a reference to the div, figure out how many pixels across it is, and then determine how the font size to take up that number of characters. Well, let's just say this. What was I going? Yeah, Because if we can fit 22 things across when it's 4 view width, maybe somebody help me out in the chat. So when it's 4 view width, we get 22 things. So when there are 23 things, we need to bump that down a little bit so that they all fit within 50. What's 22 divided by 4? 5.5. Times the length is what we're going to do. So font size is going to be that. And then we'll put this on our data. We'll say display font is initially 4 view width. And then every time the display number gets added, we're going to say this.display font is going to be font size plus view width. Let's just see what happens. Oh, we got to bind it. So let's take display font and tell the display to use that font. So we're going to use a style binding. We'll say font size is, font size is display font. Okay. Is it actually being updated? Let's see. Oh, do I have to do a hard refresh? It's not applying. Oh, I need to bind it, of course. And then this needs to be wrapped in single quotes. Okay. We're going too big. Okay, so we should actually be dividing by length. It's getting smaller. When you need your red thinking hat. Yeah, a good call, Magneto. So I did need to bind it. Yeah, I'm having an off night. Like I can't even think straight or like just like clearly figure out what the maths are to make this actually happen. So maybe I need a piece of paper. Okay, so here's the thing. Let me grab a piece of paper real quick. We're going to do this. We're going to figure this out. It's going to be great. I will not stop the stream until we get this text size resizing. You can't see this, but I'll show you after I write it. So, all right. The goal is to take up 50 view width. So that's our total. Bob with the memes, 2 plus 2 is 4, minus 1, that's 3 quick maths. We did lots of quick maths today on Coding Garden with CJ. We're now just trying to figure out how to get that display to shrink down. But okay. So Magneto say the easiest way to just read the div's width in pixels, and then I guess divide that by 22, because that would give us 22. No. Yeah. I think. Let's try it. So to get the width of this thingy, we can put a ref on it. So ref is display. And then when display changes, we should be able to get access to this.refs.display. And there is like a width property on an HTML element. Let's see if we can see it. Whoa, now. This dot ref. Cannot properly display of undefined. Isn't that how that works? Do I need to bind it? Let's look. Offset width. Okay. Global config. I'm looking for ref. Ref expects a string. Okay. Oh, sorry. It's this dot $sign refs in here. So we should get access to the element now inside that function. Cool. So we get the element. And then the offset width is going to be the total width. Yeah, so that's currently the total number of pixels that it's taking up. Cool, and I think we can verify that using the inspector. That's 446 pixels. Cool. And so I think it's totally fine to use pixels here instead of view width, because we're always going to increase the font size based on the height, the size of the display. Cool. And if we want to fit 22 values in 446 pixels, then 446 divided by 22, 20.7. So if we we gotta get rid of this. Well, here's what I'm thinking. Not by 22. What am I thinking? I cannot think straight tonight. So that's doing that. Who can help me with this math? I know there's somebody out there. So we have the total width, and we want the length of our display, so the number of characters. Okay, so it's going to be this. I don't know where that number 22 is coming from. Okay, the width divided by the length of the display. Because if there's one character, then total font size is going to use that. Good call, Kaizen. Yeah, I built a calculator and then I used the console for calculations. So, because length, here's what we're gonna do. I'm phoning a friend. I'm gonna ask Google, which in turn will probably ask Stack Overflow. Okay, JavaScript text fit within width. Auto resize text to fit into a div, width and height. Okay, this is using, looks like CoffeeScript, but what is the calculation that they're using? So you take the font size of the element, subtract 1 pixel. What? Oh. It calls the function over and over again until it reaches the right height. I don't like that. Length of the display string is what Michael is asking. That's what this was doing here. But if we do that, it's going to start off .446 pixels, and then just get smaller and smaller and smaller. So that that's technically working. It just it starts off way too big. So we do some like magic numbers. I don't know, divide by 10. It's too much. Okay. Yeah, we could throw numbers at this all day long. I'm going to find a function online and we're just going to use that. That's what I'm going with. Okay. JavaScript scale text to fit in a fixed div. Oh. Yeah, while the width is greater than the desired width. What is resizer? Is that a... Okay, so put this div at the bottom of your page where it will not be moving other elements on the page. Okay. Then do this. So the desired width, maybe an integral, Bob says. Let's take a break. I feel like this is going to be the last break of the stream, and I'm just going to call it. I've had a long day. We built a calculator. We just can't get the text to resize. And I think we spent more time on this than any other thing. Probably I only feel it that way because I'm like stumbling like crazy. Okay, let's see what they do. So they have this div. Desired width is 50. And while the width of the div is greater than the desired width, yeah, they're just like decreasing it until it fits. Size is the current font size, and then decrease that font size by 1, and keep doing that. So keep doing that until the size actually fits in. I see. They literally, like, they put the contents in this hidden thing and then just like decrease it till it reaches the width. And then once it reaches that, they take the value because it's hidden and put it in the div that they actually want it in. Okay. Let's see what this does. Yes. What? Okay. While... Oh! How can I... Okay. Because, okay, here's the thing. So greater than width, our width is 50 view width. So we could use JavaScript to grab... Let me write this down. So use JavaScript to grab the window width. And then we take... and that's going to give us in pixels. And then we take 50% of that, and that's going to give us our desired width in pixels. Actually, we can use the... Okay, never mind. We can use this, the offset width. Okay. Let's do this. So... we don't have jQuery, but we're going to... So we start the display... So here's what we do. Let's start font be 100. And then while... Yeah, we should put the text in a separate element because then it'll have a different width. Here's what I think. So yeah, so now display has a fixed width of like 400 or whatever pixels. Cool. And inside of that, if we were to put the display like just in a span, now this will technically have a larger width because it's going to be going off to the side. Let's just see that in action. Okay. So clear it. That it's going on forever, but if we look at the element inspector, yes, this is it. Okay, because the span has a width of 610, and we want to decrease that to fit into the current width. Okay, this is it. This is the one. So this is going to be display text. Well, so it should camel case it. So while this will be tricky though, because it isn't going to update this. Okay, here, we'll try it. While this .refs.display text.offset width is greater than this .refs.display that offset width, then we will set the font size, decrease the font size 1. And then set this .display font to be font size. The issue is though, in Vue.js, when so we're setting this property here, and this is bound to the element. Just setting this, I believe, won't actually update the view. So I think this while loop will just run forever. We need to do a, I think we can do like a set, not a set timeout, a sync or something. Let's see. Vue.js, like set immediate or something like that. Basically, we want to immediately set that value before we go back around and check the width of the thing again. The queue, dealing with the queue, reactivity and depth. Async update queue, next tick. Yeah, next tick, that's the one I want. Next tick callbacks will drive you crazy here. I guess that's true because I have to wait for the next tick. What if I just set the style property instead of binding it? That should work because we're accessing the ref directly. Let's do that. Let's just do that. Okay. So this .refs.display .style.font size is going to be font size. I think this will work. Let's see. We could break everything. 9. VM force update. Moment of truth. That didn't work. Okay, I broke something. It's in an infinite loop. Ah! Oh no. Task manager. Where are we at? What's taking up all of the process? All the processes. Do we see it? There we go. Oh. That's why I was just setting it to font size. Okay. Let's look at the element. We're not actually affecting the style. This could have something to do with like the virtual DOM. Just word wrap it instead of limit on the time, the amount of digits. I've been working on this way too long to give up now. I think we're really close. I think if anything, I might have to do, yeah, like a VM force update. Is that a synchronous call? Let's look it up. Yeah, it might be synchronous. Let's just try that. It's not going to be the most performant thing, but yeah, let's put this back to the way it was. Okay, so we're binding the display font. And now we'll say display font is font size. Then we'll force the page to update before doing the next thing. And here we'll just log the font size, make sure things are actually happening. All right. Did we break it? Oh, no, it shouldn't happen until we actually reach greater than. So on this next one, didn't work. It's going. It's just like negative numbers. Yeah, Kaizen is finishing. It's at the point where you've gone so far that going back is the same distance as finishing. I think so. And have we frozen the page? I think so. No, not that. Go away. Task manager. CLI app. In the process. Okay. Let's see real quick, like, because one thing I did was I attempted to set the style property of a ref, and I'm curious why that wasn't working. Vue.js ref set style attribute. Manipulating the DOM is easy with $refs. I'm just curious, is it the actual DOM element? I think it is, yeah, because we logged it out earlier. I think it is the actual DOM element. So maybe I need to use like set attribute. Let's try this. So instead of binding the style like this, I want to say this.refs.display dot set attribute style, and the style attribute is going to be font size is font size. Oh, good call, Magneto. So Magneto is saying it could be that the offset width of the parent includes the child's width. Yeah, so let's log both of them. Because there could be a like just like a visible width. Yeah, so let's log this. It could have been one of our issues. What did we do wrong? Oh, append the string. Yeah, so let's see what happens when, so the first number is the current width of display, and the second number is the current width of the text. Yeah. That, I think it's a different width, but for whatever reason, the font size is going all the way down to 0. That is technically working though. Let's watch this happen. Right? It doesn't happen until it gets larger than. So the moment it gets larger than, font size is 0. Yeah, let's log the client width. And actually, let's not try to update the style just yet. Okay. So the client width and offset width of the parent are all the same. The client width of the child is 0. Did I spell that right? Thanks for tuning in, Brooks. Have a good night. Yeah, this was an interesting live stream. I'm a little out of it today. I built a working thing though for the most part. Okay, so client width of the child is 0 for whatever reason. But yeah, so now this has a width of 673 and this has a width of 473. Main thing is we want to decrease the font size until this fits within, which is what this while loop is trying to do. It's basically saying if the display text width, which does have a value, right? Yeah, that's this one. If its width is greater than the display's width, meaning, and which is what's happened, right? Well, if we get some numbers in there, that's what happens, because eventually, right, 484 is greater than 473. Let me see if this is actually working though. So we're trying to set the style attribute. You know, one thing I might do, well, I guess I couldn't do that. I could use like a, I don't even know what I was gonna say. Yeah, so Magneto's saying I'm not adding pixels to the end. Let's do that. So pixels, cool. But I do want to log the font size so we can see it decreasing, and then also log the style attribute to make sure that that's actually getting set. Because that could be our main issue. Like, the way Vue.js is handling the DOM elements, like, it's not seeing the update to the width with the font size change, and then it just goes all the way down to 0. Okay. Here we go. That should have kicked in, and it does there. Hey, I think that worked. Yeah, I think it was the pixel value. Yeah. Hey, it's working. We have to do a little bit with yeah, it's working though. By golly, we've done it. Okay. Here's the main thing though. We need to like subtract 10 from this, so there's always like a little bit of gutter room. So like right there, it should kick in. Yeah, maybe even sooner. Right there. No, let's see. Client width is 510, and this is 473. How's that happening? Let's do like 60. I'm excited. You guys are excited for me. But yeah, thanks Magneto for figuring that out. Yeah, wonderful. I think now the only thing is just making sure that this actually starts to. Yeah, it's not. Oh, plus we need to add on. That's why. Not decrease it. So that way the display starts to resize before the number hits the edge. That's why I'm subtracting 30 there. So it should start resizing there. Look at that. That's awesome. Okay. However, when we clear it, we need to, yeah, that's why I wanted to do a set display. I think what we need to do is we actually need to set the font size and then like see it go down. It should be fast enough. Because main thing is I need it to change every time display changes. And if it's already like really small and it's already within the I don't know. I'm a space cadet today. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's why. We still need that font size variable. What? Oh. We have to take into account the height too. So I mean, let's just say we start off at 50 pixels. But then this is where we would want to use view width maybe? Yeah, so that works. And then if I clear it, well, the point of, oh, what's the difference when I clear it? So if it's a special button, set the display to 0, but that does not seem to be running our display function. Cool. Let's do this though. So let's start the font size at 4 view width. And instead of just subtracting 1, we'll do like minus equals 0.1. Look at that. It's beautiful. Yeah, and then I'm going to type the first number. Like that. Okay. What if we did, we start at 5 view width. Well, I guess I also need to set the display font size. Okay. Yeah, so that's great. And then it starts to shrink. But now that it's view width, it shrinks with the display. Oh, that's so awesome. Okay. That's great. That is fantastic. Oh, why did I close that? Okay. I think I'm calling it there. How long have I been streaming? 2 hours, 11 minutes. This was a tough one. It was a long day for me. We figured it out though. Got some stuff working. As I mentioned before, This code is very interesting. If I had more time to think about it, I might structure it in a different way. We could incorporate Vuex that might clean things up a bit. Also, introducing Vuex might be able to give us like an undo, redo stack, so you could like undo the previous operation. I think some enhancements would be to like store your previous calculations and maybe like show like what it was, like 99 plus 4 or whatever, you know, like whatever your operation was, show those off to the left. But other than that, we have this fully responsive calculator. We can do 99 times 2 and it gives us the answer, which is great. We can clear the screen. We can do 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. Let's keep going till it resizes. 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. We're going to get into scientific notation before it resizes. All right, almost there. Oh, it's not resizing. What? Forever. What are you saying, Andy? You're saying it took me forever? Because it did take me forever. Oh, I think that's why. Like, for whatever reason, the display watch is not getting run. Yeah, like, oh, I see. When we type an operator, I am never gonna sleep with it. I think we got it working at, well, no. I thought we had it working at the screen size. So I'm testing it, like when you type numbers in, that's great. But when you do an operator, that starts to mess things up. I'm gonna try one last thing. I said I was done, but I am gonna try one last thing. It's been good, Andy. Yeah, see you later. Okay, one last thing. Let's do this. Let's just create a simple method called update display with some value. And it sets this dot display to be the value. And inside of that is where we will do this fancy thing. This is where we would use next tick. Because I want the... No, actually, no. No. Yes, because I want the display to have the value so that when I set the font size, it's great. Okay. But now, anywhere we do this dot display equals, we're going to say this dot update display with that value. Value. Okay. So, yeah. Now, anywhere we do vm.display. Still watching. Okay. That's funny. Okay. Well, instead of plus equals, let's here say vm.update display with vm.display plus button.text. And then this will be update display with this. Okay. And then anywhere else we're doing vm. Yeah, so this is going to be vm.update display with that. I think using that next tick thing definitely will help us there. Mainly so that the actual display value will be added to the page, and then on next tick, it will have been added to the page so that we can actually resize it. I think those are all the places we're setting display. Nope, they're not. So here we're going to do vm.update display with the empty string. Okay, let's see what we got. Some weird things. I'm missing a comma, I believe. Yeah, comma right there. Here we go. 9 times, well, no. What were we doing before? 9 times 9 times 9 times, ugh. I broke it. So when an operator is pressed, perform operation happens. Perform operation is getting the value and then updating the display with that value. I shouldn't have done this. I should have just quit. I should have quit while I was ahead. 9 times, nope. 9 times 9 times. Whoa. We had 9 times 9, 81. Okay, that's working. This is where we need automated tests. It's working. It's working. +3. Cool. Ugh. We did it. Mostly, maybe. All right, I'm going to push this code up. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks, everyone, for all of the advice and suggestions thrown in the chat. This has been a weird one, but I appreciate you sticking around and watching. I will push the code up. It is on github.com/codinggarden/Vue.calculator. Let's kill it. Ta-da! It's working! I really appreciate everyone sticking in it with me. It got weird for a second. It really did. Fist bump. All right, code is up there. Hack away at it. Make it better. Oh, look at this. I'm done. I'm not going to touch it. At certain display widths, the numbers aren't 5 view height isn't a good choice. I don't know. Until next time, thanks everyone so much for watching. This has been Coding Garden. If you do, take a look at my YouTube channel. You can actually see all of the upcoming live streams. They still have not fixed the bug. These times are an hour behind, so an hour, put the time an hour ahead. Tomorrow is Newbie Tuesdays. Tony should be back. We don't know what the topic is going to be yet, but it is going to be super newbie friendly. You can go to my channel, click set reminder. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks, Michael. And I will see you next time.